we're moving to economics now, and what they say is you have to start to get a full understanding of what this economic stuff is all about. And coming from the Philosophy of Economics, first published Friday, September 12, 2003, and then substantive revisions Tuesday, December 18, 2012, they said, economic theories of rationality, welfare, and social choices defend subsistent philosophical theses, often informed by relevant philosophical literature and of evident interest to those in action theory, philosophical, psychological, and social political philosophy. Economics is of particular interest to those interested in the epistemology and philosophy of science, both because of its detailed particularities and because it possesses many of the overt features of the natural science. While it is an object of social phenomena, firms attempt to maximize their profit in the face of diminishing returns, that firms that are doing it, holding fixed all input into production except one. Output increases when there is more of the remaining input, but at a diminishing rate. Economists idealize and suppose that in competitive markets, firms and individuals cannot influence the price, but economists are interested in the strategic interaction in which the rational choices of the separate individuals are interdependent. Branches of the mainstream economics are also devoted to specific questions concerning growth, finance, employment, agriculture, housing, natural resources, international trade, and so forth. Within orthodox economics, there's also many different approaches. And then they say, and now you know why economics is so always rejected as a subject for common man. I mean, what in the world is that there? Who cares? What a mess. But, turn away. That's it. We're not going to do economics. Man. The problem for anyone who wants to even begin to understand economics are insurmountable. Why? They, and it's the overcharges we're talking about, would have you believe that in all manner of complicated things, and they are very often true. So what is the use of learning any of this? What's the use of learning economics? Because it is not that complicated once you understand what is behind all the smoke and mirrors. There's only one thing that has a real effect on our country's economy, and only that one thing has to be changed. Now, you want to talk about there's only one thing that has a real effect on our country's economy, and only that one thing has to be changed. What? So all the razzle-dazzle of the political named economic, like the trickle-down theory, which it never did, and things like that, they just love to do to you, and you are advertised to, and you get the razzle-dazzle of all the wonderful things that they're talking about in economics, and it's too complicated for you to deal with, so you just let them do it. Well, one thing that we know for sure, the trickle-down never did. They bought a $100 million picture for the dining room table. So just what are we going to get across to you then? There are three concepts that need to be understood, and once they're understood, the whole thing becomes clear as a bell, and economics becomes totally understandable. The first concept is that there was in each covenant, and those are the covenants made by the ones who are covenanting with it and with the human beings. The clever humans invented inventions that messed up all hope for the outcome on the father's side. That was the problem that we ended up with. The use of magic is one of them, and that was one of the first ones. The working of the gods' higher powers and in others, and what ended up to be advertisement as the last one. What they said magic was the first thing they used that screwed everything up in the first cycle, or the first covenant. Second covenant was screwed up by advertising. and kind of those kind of overlap. The use of those things were the work of man and his ingenuity or creativity, and probably helped by it. They were not planned for, and as we said, they messed up the covenant each time. So this last time, the invention was advertisement, and so this last time the invention was advertisement and messed up the last covenant. Now, you know that there's a third covenant coming, or it has been made, and you know that all of a sudden it and its dominions are going to pay a horrible price if they mess it up. And the third covenant is information. You bother the information cycle and you're in deep, deep trouble. So now you understand that part, and you understand that it's all screwed up and it makes things difficult. But there's a new thing coming, and it's called the information cycle. And the information will give you an understanding of what's really going on. So there goes the problem of not understanding what's going on. Okay, so then the second concept is how bad is advertisement really? We've gone over this part again and again because it's so important, but to just give you an understanding of how it affects the economics, we have to say again that advertising works, and you, in brackets, the common man and woman, and that's what they call you, common man and woman, are affected by advertising to the extent that it forces you to buy, and not always what you want. That has a great effect on the total economy of this country. So then I go on, then we have to go on to the third concept, then we have to go back to what we said earlier, and that was that there's only one thing that has a real effect on the country's economy, and only that one thing has to be changed. Oh, that's a comment. In all of the stuff that you hear, actually, there's only one thing that has to be changed, and all of it goes away. All of the negative stuff. Sounds as though we're making it too easy, right? Well, let's just see. There are millions of problems, but they all go away just as soon as everyone has money. Think about what we just said there. If there's plenty of money in the hands of the everyday people, the economy booms no matter what the problems are, right? And you know that's right. We've seen it over and over and over again. What happens is that the people that want your money will change things or allow things to be changed so they get it. And one of the things that you can see plainly is that you have lots of money, the economy is going to do well no matter what system you're in. Now think about Book 4 and the system promoted there, and everybody has lots of money. And if you follow the promotion, you end up with lots of money. Just the average person. All of this economic stuff goes away. If the overcharger can only make $400,000 a year, it really changes a lot of stuff. They're not going to be taking all of our money away from us and then buying a picture for $100 million just to show that they're able to take the money away. Because, you know, it's the gunslinger, put your guns in the sheriff's office type thing. We can make a law that says you can only make $400,000 a year in the United States. Yes, it's just that simple. Now the solution is just that simple. And what they go to is, as you know, we recommended a yearly income of $400,000 for everyone, and the only tax being a sales tax that gets rid of all the other taxes, all the other loopholes, all the other ways that the rich can slip out of paying their fair share. The basic needs of the family would not be charged sales tax, so the poor would be allowed to live if there were people that were still having a problem, or maybe in the beginning of it we would charge a tax on food or clothing or heat or lights, you know, that kind of thing. But as we begin to realize that we were making all kinds of money, all kinds of things are thrown out that are no longer needed, you all of a sudden start to have money, and the sales tax can go on everything. The overcharger can only steal so much, then they have to give the rest back. They have an inheritance to their children, and that inheritance becomes $100,000, and they tell you that that's all you can give your child, and the child can make 400, another 300 But if he didn't if he didn't make a penny, he can live on $100,000 a year. So you've got the system of inheritance taken care of, and if you buy anything, they immediately pay taxes on it. And now they're closer to living on their income than when we're talking about the overcharges. At $400,000 a year, they're going to have to pay a lot of that money off to live. And they're not going to be able to stash it away and buy a picture. They're going to have to eat. And if they buy anything at all, then they immediately pay the taxes, and now they're living on their income, and that means we're spending money on things that we need instead of the ridiculous stuff they are able to buy now, and that they become just like us. The economy will take off, and there'll be more jobs just because of that. Not anything else, but just because of that. That means there'll be less government support job needed, and therefore the welfare costs would go down, and therefore you would have more money because it costs less for all of the things that you're dealing with, and the sales tax would start going down. It'll take a little while to center this thing out or make it stable, but there are other things we're recommending that increase the money in your pocket. But those are the major ones, and you can easily see that they're true and would work. The overcharges have hurt us in so many ways, yet we're prisoners to their advertisement that says let them go on with robbing, starving, and killing you, but don't forget to kiss their boots because they're so wonderful people. They are economic gunslingers of our time. They are the cleverest, fastest thieves, and they need to put their guns in the sheriff's office, so to speak. We need to get out from under their thumb and begin living our lives as we were meant to do with our free will, intact and usable. So we are not allowing the overcharges to continue with their theft, and we are not allowing them to pass on their stolen monies to the children. Advertisement says we're wrong to do that, but who's doing the advertising? Isn't it time to get your tongue off their boots? Woo, woo, you know. Sometimes they're not gentle about things, and this is one of those times. So basically, they're saying that we need to put the overcharges in their, make them stop stealing, make them live just like we do. You keep the incentive program because 99% of the people still have exactly the same incentive that they had before to work, except that they're more likely to make a lot more money now with the new system. So that's economics, kind of in a nutshell. But what they're saying is change one thing. Change the amount of money that the overcharges can steal from you, and all of your economic problems go away because people have money. Just about that simple.